I want to hear from you your actual journey because you
Mhm,
went through all of the steps
mhm,
that were mentioned, or they might be in another episode.
mhm.
You went through all those steps. Walk us through that. Like, what did that look like? So
Yeah,
you
so
graduated. What's going on?
so yeah, I graduated, and then I smacked myself on the top of my head saying, why didn't I network a year in advance? But I said, you know what? You never get sad about something and sulk over it for a long time. Just look at the next thing and you grind and you work hard and you hustle towards the next thing, right? So yeah, I just got myself up, and then when I came back, I was just like, okay, I need to figure out a way that I can successfully achieve what I want to achieve. There was a lot of people around me saying, hey, yeah, networking is not necessarily the best thing, close to me, right? But I knew through networking what I've achieved before, and I knew that I could probably continue achieving more. So yeah, I came back, built the process that I've already explained, or maybe I learned the process over time. You get what I'm trying to say? It wasn't like I woke up one day, I was like, then Excel rows, columns, rows, right. I think it was just a thought process, and I wanted to put that thought process on a document, right? Because there's so much that can go on your head. Like, how many companies are you going to keep in the back of your head, right? So you have to write it down somewhere. And because working with Excel for so many years, I was just like, okay, Excel.
Yeah.
And then
Business student mentality.
yeah, and then it became a process, right? Yeah, and then I went through it. And I started networking. Had a lot of calls literally every Saturday, Sunday. I used to have so many calls. And then I used to spend the weekdays just applying to positions or determining positions, and then just going through with it. I also got a few positions per se, but then I started negotiating early on. I started negotiating because a part of me was like, I don't think I I'm okay with what you guys are offering me, because as a co-op person, I was either making more or I was achieving more, and not necessarily like achieving more in the sense of benefits and finance. I was like, my projects were very well, established in the organization. I don't want to do something that's somewhat mediocrity, right? But
Yeah.
that's because I already had experiences, and there's nothing wrong with moving parallel. There's nothing wrong with making a shift horizontally, but you do not want to make a vertical shift down,
Mm.
right? And this could be different because now the situation and economics of the country and the economics of like pretty much globally is different. So you might have to make a shift down. I'm gonna say, right now it's different than when I was doing my job hunt. So I did not want to make a shift down. I just wanted to I was okay with making a shift horizontally or vertically up though. I was happy to do that too. So I started negotiating with some of the roles offers I got. And after support, they were like, you go. You're negotiating way too much. You go. Some of them were not in things exactly what I wanted. Like the offer was on the table, but it wasn't exactly. So I told them in a few years, it was like the last interview round. It was kind of acknowledged that we're gonna give you an offer, right? And they were under the mindset that I'm gonna be doing this role for this many years, and then I'm gonna do this is what my career plan is. But I was like, not necessarily. I'm gonna go with this certain career plan. I'm focusing more towards the other. And that kind of held them back. But listen, I'm a transparent and honest person. Or I try to be. Let's just say that, okay? Um, and I don't want to give them an assumption or give them a hope that I'm going to be doing something, right? Rather, my mindset is something else. So I kind of opened up. I told them the truth. And I think that's one key thing also when you're networking, and also when you're actually in a job or when you're in those interviews. Be as honest, be genuine, right? So yeah, so I just told them, and I think that they were like, yeah, no, you're not gonna do what we want you to do. Out.
What do you when you say you told them the truth? What truth? Like, are you talking? Because
Like like for example, they were like, okay, you're gonna have this role, then you're gonna get promoted in this. Because they asked me, what's your 5-year plan,
yeah,
right? And they had an
yeah,
assumed 5-year plan before me going into the interview, right? So instead of me saying, oh, I am gonna be the exact guy that you want me to be, because I wasn't. Like I genuinely like I don't. They wanted me to be continue as a manager within that specific facility. I said I don't see myself being. I want to be a corporate project manager or a consultant within your organization, and that's a really respected position. And I think that's totally fine because I'll master this thing, then I can transfer over to the other stuff. but I don't think they liked that answer quite a bit. I mean, I was on my last interview. I was literally on the verge of getting the position. Like indirectly, it was kind of assumed that here's your like you're gonna get this role. But right at because of that point, because of that specific discussion, they were like, let's not. But yeah, so and this is early on, and then I continue networking. Then I network I continued networking, and then I started networking with people within IBM. At the same time, I was networking with a lot of people, and I had a lot of different interviews from consulting, project management, and finance. So then all of a sudden, I started getting all of these really, one of the nicer companies started offering interviews and the final interviews, and I also got offers. And at the same time, I had IBM at the hand too. And then I chose IBM. That's kind of like the quick story, but yeah. So like that networking kind of became like it gave me some initial positions too, and then I stayed put on what my mindset was because I knew I could. But you have to understand that about yourself too, if you could or not. You have to be confident in what you know you've achieved and what you can achieve, and so you just kind of stay put on that. And a part of this was also like I'm a spiritual guy, so I'm gonna say out of genuine like a part of me was very spiritual that God, you're gonna help me out with this. I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna get something good, and it turned fruitful. And if you want, I can start going into details of how I specifically was able to achieve certain roles at certain major organizations through networking. If you want, I can talk
Yeah,
about.
let's do that. I want to hear like actually, so for example, you told me you reached out to somebody at IBM
Yeah, yeah,
following
yeah,
the process that you labeled, and then you guys
yeah,
started having a conversation. They connected with you. You made a post on LinkedIn. Let's
yeah,
go
yeah.
from the start because I know
Okay.
the story, but people listening don't.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure. I think before IBM, I talk about because that's probably what people are more interested in. I'm gonna talk about a few other ones, and really quickly go over the other ones. Then kind of bring it to IBM.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So one of the organization you know about Amazon, right?
No, who doesn't know about Amazon?
Okay, yeah. So sorry, yeah. So I was networking with somebody that my brother knew, and
Okay.
I took his network and I started networking with him. You see, I was I was I wasn't caring about that mentality. Hey, it's my brother's network. It's not mine. I shouldn't engage with them. It might look bad. No, no, no. I was like, bro, I'm sending a message to them. Are you okay with this? He's like, yeah, yeah, go for it, bro. I trust you. So very professionally had this entire engagement, network with them. And then after like 2 months of constant networking, I got an interview at Amazon, right? And so I went in to Toronto, did my interview. I got through. I sent that person a message saying, "Hey, I got a job offer. Thank you so much." She's like, "I didn't do anything." She's like, "I just gave you answers. I didn't reference you or anything." So, I thought I still think she's being humble. I still think she's being humble. I don't know if she did actually give in my name or not to this day, but that's something else. So I got the position, and then at the same time, I was on my final rounds with IBM.
Mm.
So and then at the same time, I was getting a interview request from, I think it was Toronto Hydro One or Toronto Hydro.
Okay.
It was either or. I just can't fully remember. And I still remember that entire like 2 weeks was intense because I have an offer. I only have 2 weeks or 3 weeks to reply to that offer. At the same time, I just did my IBM's final interview, and I'm going in for another interview, which is with Hydro One or
Yeah.
Toronto Hydro. I can't remember exactly who it was. So here we'll leave the story at this stage. Now I'm gonna go to IBM.
Yeah. So
So
you've already at this position where you have three doors to very, very high profile companies in
yeah,
roles that you're interested in, and you already
yeah.
have an offer on the table from
Oh,
Amazon.
here's the fun part. So IBM was consulting, Amazon was management,
Okay.
and Hydro was finance,
Mm.
financial analyst, right?
Okay.
It was I think business analyst slash financial analyst,
Right.
right? So and now I'm gonna back up to the process of IBM. So IBM was pretty. It was funny because it wasn't really like I went mentally like I was engaged for this networking per se. So I remember I've applied to IBM. It's been a week or two. I'm scrolling down my LinkedIn feed and I see this person's post saying that, hey, I've achieved 9 out of the 10 jobs that I'm looking for, and the 9 or 10 companies that I really wanted to work for, and currently I chose IBM. Bro, because I was networking and I was in that state of mind. I reached out to them. I said, hey, like in a very the same process that I told before, in a very humble manner, sent a nice little paragraph. They replied back saying, thank you for connecting, and thank you for finding my story inspiring and XYZ. Let's connect. And honestly, we had really fruitful conversations. Those engagements went for like longer than our established times, and then that engagement led to 5 other new members within IBM, or four new members within IBM with different practices,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because she was in a specific practice, but the others were in different practices. So now I'm networking with so many people from IBM, and then all of a sudden, the initial person that I engaged with, they asked me, hey, I like tell me about yourself. You reached out to us. I saw your LinkedIn. You've been to Cambodia, and like, what's that all about in United Nations and all that about? So I told them about everything, and that's my closing time. You see what I'm saying?
There you go. They asked you. They gave you the opening.
Yeah.
Go in.
Yeah, but I like at that time it wasn't like it wasn't in my head that I'm closing. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It was just a discussion.
You're just having a conversation.
Just having a
And
conversation.
that's probably how it should feel
Yeah.
to both people.
Yeah.
The whole time, right?
It was genuine, just a conversation. Because my goal wasn't just to close with her. Because I was like, we're having such good conversations about professional growth and all this XYZ, and like, I've already applied to IBM. You get what I'm trying to say?
So you don't feel like there's much personal gain out of this. You're doing this because you want to do it.
Yeah. Like I want to learn, bro. Like they're telling me about their how they took an entire year long of networking to establish their brand with all these different organizations and these specific roles within these organizations.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? So I'm learning from her, and then that question comes up, and so obviously I engage, and I didn't know this, but they found my work fascinating or I shouldn't use the word fascinating, but I think they're interested in the work that I've done, and they liked it, and they gave in a reference for me without telling me. I had no clue. I didn't have a clue till the day I met them again at the office.
Oh, okay. So you ended up working at the same place.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
So, different practices within IBM.
Right, but same head office, corporate office.
Yeah. So I ended up getting this email after 2 or 3 weeks of here's an online test you have to do, bro. A lot of these bigger companies, cognitive ability test, personality test, XYZ test, game test. Like, there's so many tests.
Yeah.
Be ready for those, and you can never prepare for them. I'm gonna be very honest with you. You can try to prepare, not gonna happen. They're just trying to see if your natural abilities are fit with the organization, right? So maybe I don't know if I did well or not, but I did. Maybe I did well.
Well, it must have been well enough.
Yeah. So I think I did okay, and then I got invited to the networking round, where you go in, you just have to talk to people. And this is more like the IBM process, but this is also all of the consulting firms process. Every consulting firm has a similar process where you go through the initial round, then you get invited to a socials. Then if you get accepted from the social from few of the senior management, then you make it to the next round. Because the reality is, everybody that's going into the socials is a smart person, or someone on paper is smart. But now they need to establish that you can carry a conversation with $1 million clients, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the social round comes in. So yeah, I went to the social round. I met them. I met the networks that I was already engaged with. And then they told me, hey, you might want to talk to this person. You might want to talk to this person. You see, like that continued on as a fruitful thing. And then I talked to this person, and I talked to the person that I was also engaging with the practice that I am currently in. And they both liked me. They both gave me an interview. So I had 2 interviews now for IBM for 2 different practices. So these 2 were like 2 potential job roles. So I don't know if I got both, but I got a call saying, which one do you want? And so I chose one. So I don't know if I got both, though. I'm going to be very honest with you. I think on the phone, the HR person was like, this is the first one that you applied for. Is this what you're probably more inclined with? In my head, I was like, I like both. I genuinely like both. And I'm happy to work with both. but I do lean more towards this, so I'll accept it. Like or more than yes, give me this,
Yeah.
right? And so now this is at the same time, and then now I'm going in for my second interview for my specific practice. At the same time, Amazon's given me an offer, and I'm getting the calls for Hydra One and I think one other organization. And so now I'm like, you know what? I'm like a little antsy about like what first I'm very thankful to God that I already have something established and I'm good. Like in a
Yeah.
sense, like I have a role, an offer. And then second interview happens, and then I'm getting like, you know, I'm waiting for the reply. I don't know, but a big part of me in my heart wanted IBM. So I was like, I'm waiting for this reply. And then I sent an email saying, hey, I've already have an offer at hand. I genuinely am interested in IBM. Could you? They're like, yeah, it's part of the process. We're just waiting for the documentation to be clear, processed. And and I gotta say this one thing: the people who are in the committee within IBM are super hardworking. So just for
Yeah.
me, they kind of electrocuted that damn process and get me the papers.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there with two offers, and I'm just like, who like what do I do? And then that night, again spirituality and made a talk to God and just made a decision that whichever one I felt like was a better one, and then put in my offer to IBM and accepted my offer to IBM that same night, and very humbly sent an apology letter to Amazon and then all the other people that I was still in line for an interview
Yeah.
with, and that's the entire process.
Well, see, I think that's so awesome, man, because the reality is, actually, if you want to talk about the first couple of weeks when you started the job
Yeah.
search, because that's near the end, and people are like, okay, that's awesome. This guy got a job at Amazon, IBM. He's got offers and whatnot coming left and
Mhm.
right. But
Mhm.
it wasn't like that the whole time. And I
No,
think it's
no,
important to highlight the first couple of weeks of
yeah,
that journey because that's the end.
yeah, for
What
sure,
were the
for sure.
first few weeks like?
I'm gonna say the first 3 months, they're
Three.
pretty.
See, that's a big piece to note too. Yeah.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
3 months.
This is what I'm saying. If you're in third year ending or you're in fourth year beginning, start networking. Start this hunt. Do not delay this. Listen, I'm gonna say one thing. A lot of people are gonna spend a lot of time doing things that I personally would say are not that useful, i.e.,
Yeah.
partying and XYZ. All that stuff can happen, and it'll be 10 times more better. Or I'll use the word sexier once you have that damn job, because you
Yeah.
can do it without a headache. So spend that little time that you're going to spend with your partying and all that stuff on that job hunt, on that networking. And I'm not going to say that sacrifice your studies. No, sacrifice your personal partying time, right? Don't get crazy, don't go crazy, don't affect your mental health. But the time that you would be spending on things that I would say are useless, or you yourself can agree to is as useless,
Yeah.
spend it on your job hunt, because that's very important. Remember, sacrifices have to be made in everything in life for any form of growth.
Yeah.
That's the basis of a lot of growth. Sacrifices have to be made. Sometimes it's time, sometimes it's certain relations, sometimes it's certain events and XYZ, right? They have to be made. And sometimes I'm sorry to say, sometimes your sleep. Yeah, you have to sacrifice your sleep sometimes. You have to stay up to work and you have to do XYZ. So yeah, but yeah, so the first week, first few months, it was tough, man, because I just came back from an amazing experience, which was the United Nations, and
Yeah.
I had a job offer there, which I left because I was like because I didn't spend enough time with family, and the part of me was like, you know what, I need to go back and spend some good time with family,
Yeah.
right? And because I was away from family for 5 years, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, because
Like
you went away from family for Brock
school,
University because it's
yeah,
not in your hometown, and then
yeah,
you went to the UN and you had these internationals. Okay,
yeah.
makes sense.
And again, sacrifice, right? I did like I did not attend some major events within the family, because either I was in Cambodia or B, I was preparing for my exams and stuff like that, and those sacrifices were made. So now I had to a part of me was like, this is a time I can't spend time with family, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to Canada. I left this on the table and I came here. And so, a month goes by of me networking and job application. 2 months goes by. I'm getting some weird offers. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got some. That's what I said when I started negotiating. They were like, "Out, you can leave." Yeah, so and I'm negotiating, and 2 months had gone by. And then finally, by the third month, I'm getting some engagement with these nicer positions, these specific organizations. Like, and then for me, it was a huge learning opportunity. Patience, bro, huge.
So you were getting, so first couple months of your job search, you were talking to companies,
Mm-hmm.
and you were still following your networking
Yeah,
method.
yeah,
You
somewhat,
were
yeah. Mainly, I would say initially the first 2 weeks, not like I was establishing it.
okay.
By the ending of the first and the second and third, like I was engaged. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking to these subpar companies,
Mm-hmm.
subpar relatively, right? Because you had some
Mm-hmm.
ideas where you wanted to end up.
Mm-hmm.
And they were giving you offers, but you were negotiating for something better because you knew your value. You knew that you had more to bring to the table, and you didn't want to settle.
I won't say my value is more like I can't. You could say my value also. I didn't want to make a vertical push down. You get what I'm trying to say?
Back to, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you had a high role at UNDP, you wanted to be horizontal or you wanted to move up.
Yeah, and that's with your entire career. You have to think about this because you moving vertically, you want to move up. Horizontally, yeah, that's fine. You can move horizontally left and right, and sometimes that horizontal jump can help you with that vertical push. So
Right.
for me, it was like I'm okay with moving horizontally, but not vertically down. I want to move up if
Yeah.
possible, right?
So instead of taking what was right in front of you
Yeah,
right away, that was
yeah,
would have been a step. And to give people an idea, like what are you talking about when you say it would have been a step down? Like what would be the
yeah, for sure, for sure. So with the UN, with the GM, with Niagara region, I had all these roles. There's some type of one thing. Yeah, financials is obviously a key player. I don't come from a very, very, very rich family, so financials sometimes do play a key role. But other than that, I had some type of self like a responsibility within those roles, right? I wasn't micromanaged. I was given projects, I was given roles, and I had to go and complete them. I was given objectives, and I had to do it. So some form of responsibility and authority, and I respect that. I like that. I like getting some responsibility, and I like authority. So for me, these specific roles were very micromanaged, or they were very like very linear. Like you for me, I felt like okay, I worked at a restaurant. I managed an entire restaurant which seats 200 plus people. That's technically more rewarding emotionally and mentally, not financially, than some of these positions because I'm like in a very tiny position, which is reporting to like 10 other people. I was like, I don't think I want. I don't think like I could do it for. I'm not against doing it. I could do it for the first year. But if this is where and that's what I'm saying. Like the guy was like, this is where he sees me in the next 5 years. If you see me in this was like that type of growth role in the next 5 years, I don't see myself there. I could do it for the first 2 years. I could do it for 3 years. But at the end of the day, if my end goal is not accomplished, like I see myself as a project manager, if I don't see myself working on some really fruitful projects and objectives, then is it really worth my 2 3 years of sacrifice? You know what I'm trying to say?
absolutely, yeah. So instead of taking what was easy in front of you, you
Mhm.
spent the time to continue building that network and those
Yeah,
relationships.
yeah,
Let's talk about that then. So you get to the point where you're starting to talk to IBM, Amazon,
yeah.
Toronto Hydro, Hydro One.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so I'm getting these offers, which I'm not really fond of, and so I'm like, at the same time, I'm not working, so I'm doing both. As I said before, I spent a lot of time on this, and I genuinely engaged myself in it. So I'm applying through like just LinkedIn and stuff like that without doing any form of networking. But at the same time, my second and my main process is I'm networking, learning, and then using that as a form of applying and moving through with my career.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I'm getting these, and in my head I'm like, you know what, I do believe I can do better. So I started focusing more on that networking aspect within these different companies. So IBM, Amazon. I also did some other companies within the consulting world, um, you know, and also some other companies just in general with the which have done amazing, right? Just in general. So so yeah, I was just engaging with them with these different roles, and working hard towards those networks. And even though I was getting these offers, I wasn't letting it hinder my mental stability because you get an offer and you need it financially, but I'm not accepting it because I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, because like in my head, I could be like, I thought it a few times. I'm like, let me just take this position and I'll see what happens after.
Yeah.
Right? Because I need to, obviously, I need to pay certain bills. I have certain responsibilities and stuff like that. So I was like, let me take this on and then I'll see where it leads me. But I was like, no. For that, what I did was I contacted the restaurant that I used to manage before. I said, hey, you guys are okay with me coming into work a few days a week, and so I can focus on this mainly on my networking and my job hunt, and at the same time, just for my financial needs, I can come to you guys. They were like, yeah, come, bro. They were ecstatic. They were like, yeah, 100% come. And so so that's what I did. So like financially, I didn't end up settling with all these positions that I wasn't really interested in.
Yeah.
I was doing a part-time job, and
So let's actually, I want to highlight that because you weren't just applying, you were actually working at a restaurant while you were applying to get your job,
yes,
go to
and
IBM.
yeah,
So that's the hustle that
oh yeah,
you keep seeing in your when you talk and whatnot. It's like, okay, you're not just sitting down and hoping something happens. You're still working at a restaurant to cover your finances and your needs. And that goes back to the humility piece, right? Like you're a graduate. You just came from Cambodia solving economic inclusion challenges for the country, and I've seen some of the work you did and some of the articles about you. And now you're working at a restaurant because that's what you need to be doing in the meantime to get to your next step.
yeah, and a lot of people used to come to the restaurant, see me there. Like I still have I was very respected even in the restaurant, right? So but at the same time, like a lot of people used to come there, and even the workers there, they'd be like, weren't you just working for the UN? So now you're here? And but a part of me is just like, no work is a low work and no work is a high work. You put your effort into everything you engage in, and you do your best in everything that you do. And once you've done your best in everything that you've engaged yourself into, you can never say, or you can never have a regret, or you can never say, hey, oh, that should have happened, or I should have done. You've done your best, right? So for me, it was like, I don't care, I need to pay my financial bills. I'm gonna go to the restaurant. I'm not gonna let anything affect me. Like Brock students used to come there, right?
Yeah.
Kids used to come here who used to, who saw me as like someone who's just gonna come from back from UN and knock it out of the park and have like this high paying job and everything. And they should see me and they'd be like, wait, weren't you working for the UN? Like what happened? And I'd be like, no, man. Yeah, I finished. I came back. My degree's over. I'm working here, but in the meantime, just, job hunt and all that stuff. So, you know what? Just wish me the best of luck and pray, everything goes well. And yeah, then that's it. And I served them in the restaurant, and then, yeah, the days go by, and now you see, like I've did my responsibility as a son of the house, or whatever you want to call it. I did my responsibility that I had financially on me. I fulfilled them. And then at the same time, I, was networking hard, doing my job hunt, spending long hours on each resume and cover letter package. And yeah, it worked out. And hustle is a big part of it. So work smart and work hard. You got to do a little bit of both.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So, Ahmed, as we kind of wrap things up here, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or any advice you have for somebody that's just at that starting point of their job search, or just in the first couple of weeks? Anything you want to say to them that you think would be helpful for them to know?
I think a lot of people don't understand that they think because you have a degree, you're entitled to something. Let me break this down. We as humans, or you as whatever you are, whatever position you are in life, you are not entitled to anything. Just understand this. You're only entitled from your parents, and that's it. And that too, you have to have, that's something that's your relationship between your parents. You're not entitled to get anything from this world. So when you come out, if you put in 100% effort into finishing your degree, you got to put in 200% effort into your job hunt. And I'm very, very genuinely honest about this, because I've talked to a lot of people right now. They're like, oh, it's COVID. There's not a lot of jobs out there. And at the same time, I see that mentality, and I see people's mentality where like, so what if it's COVID? There's still a few jobs open, and we're gonna work hard to get those jobs. And then on my LinkedIn, I get notifications on a weekly basis like, this person just got a new job. This person just got a new job. This person just got a new job. So then I have these friends who are just like, oh, it's COVID, we're not gonna get a job anyways. So then I talk to them like, how many jobs did you apply to? They're like, I don't know, 10, 20. I'm like, no, no, no. I, within 1 month, was applying to about 30 to 40 jobs. You get what I'm trying to say? Which were very well put together. So you really have to
Yeah,
work.
these weren't just LinkedIn easy applies. These were you research the company,
Yeah.
you're writing the resume for that job position, and you're writing a cover letter for that job as well.
And if I could, I would have some form of network that would back that up from that organization. If I could, right? I'd work
Yeah.
hard for that. And don't get me wrong. I did have a few easy applies. I did, but that wasn't my focus. That wasn't my priority. My priority was genuine good. Even my easy applies didn't have like my LinkedIn resume. It had my own because you can attach your own resume.
Yeah.
I would make an entire package with like resume, cover letter, transcript, and like any extra stuff that my portfolio needed. I would send that. So yeah, so you really like I would spend a lot of time on this, and so I say this. I hope I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm gonna say this to everybody who's there, who's trying, who's really working hard, is to don't look at the COVID situation and hinder your hard work. If anything, you're at home, you don't have an excuse. If anything, I want to see 14 hours of nonstop job hunt practice. That's networking, applications, writing emails, writing, LinkedIn messages. Like I want to see 14 hours of that at the least, because I'm still giving you 10 hours of the day, which out of which 7 hours you can sleep and 3 hours you can do whatever you want to do. 14 hours, I want to, like, I'm being very honest here. I want to see the hard work because there's no one else to blame but yourself. I'm gonna be honest. No matter what the situation is, there's nobody else to blame but yourself. Like I have friends. I know I'm going on a little tangent, but I have people who talk about how the previous generation ruined the economy for us. They might have by stats and science and facts, but that doesn't give you an choice to say because they ruined it, we're just gonna sit back and do nothing. They had their difficulties. They had World War, they had World War I and II. Like, do you rather want to be doing that, or do you want to be working a little bit harder to buy yourself a house, right? So don't find excuses to not work hard. Find excuses to actually get into the zone, get things done, and find success for yourself. That's something. Here's my little motivational Mondays or motivational Sundays speech. Very, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, I love that so much. It was so good talking to you and learning from you about not just your process for finding the industry and companies, and I don't know, maybe we should coin that. Maybe we should give that a title. What do you think? It's your funnel. So what should we call it?
Oh, I don't know. A name for the entire process or something
The
that's
Java method.
Sure, call it the Java's method of networking or something like that. Yeah, sure. Let's call it that.
Okay,
Asad,
perfect.
Asad, you're probably a little bit more creative than me in that aspect, so we'll let you handle that one. How's
Okay,
that?
I'll think about what to coin that.
Okay.
And then but yeah, thank you for sharing that message and your story. And like, of course it's amazing to catch up with you. And I'm really excited to see what you're doing at IBM and ahead, because I mean you've figured out the way to network. And I think one of the things people should take away from this is you're going to learn this skill by doing it, by practicing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something you need for your first job, it's something you need for your life.
Entire life, yep.
Because right now you're probably networking for your next role and the
Yeah.
roles ahead and projects, and you're networking of course for your clients,
Mm-hmm.
with your clients too. So
Yep.
it's something that a lot of people could take away from, and you introduced a pretty good way of how to approach it, especially in the digital world. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you. I really, the pleasure is honestly mine. I'm really hoping it helps somebody. And if it does help you, food's on you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, so thank you so much. I humbly appreciate it. Humbly appreciate it. And yeah, now my focus is more towards networking in an organization. It's a different game. It's a little bit different. It's a different skill sets and all that stuff. And you have to, and obviously you have to take your networking abilities and adjust them and change them on a, however your life takes you and your career takes you. But yeah, as a whole, thank you so much, Asad, for your time. Genuinely appreciate you calling me here. Yeah, so thank you.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, okay, last thing, um question, how can people reach out to you if they want to reach out to you? What's the best way to connect with you?
LinkedIn, 100%. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. name's Ahmed Java. You'll probably see a picture of me smiling. Uh, if not, then I probably change my picture. But yeah, so you can find me on there on my LinkedIn. And yeah, you can reach out to me. You can send me a message. I may not respond right away, but I assure you I will do my best to respond. Thanks for watching. If my journey taught you something or you enjoyed the story, please do share with somebody else. It may benefit them. Also, watch the rest of the series. There's a lot of good advice in there. In the meantime, do subscribe, like, share, hit that bell icon for notifications. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram for more content. I'll be uploading more stuff in all of these social media websites. Thanks. Take care. Salam. Bye.